Okay, Sunday, November 13, 2016. We're going to go over global indexes real quick here. All right, start off. These are going to be daily North American or US indexes to complement the last video with the weeklies. Basically bouncing off of the options, okay, from last Friday, 2 Fridays back. The put call ratio video, we bounced off of that. The election, the selling is not here because of the markets had came back after the swoon, and basically the look of this here is a swing higher, but we'll know when the markets open up here in a couple of hours. On the 2-hour basis is basically when if you say that this is a larger sideways pattern, if you come through and jab through and reverse, usually you blast through the other side. So if there's any follow through, these would continue higher. This is the Wilshire. Okay. As you can see, everything kind of bottomed here, just like there's a bottom here. All my little mess up here, I'm just looking for areas where things are jammed together. Okay, here is the S&P, basically the same thing. I use the unbalanced volume down here, the little red line, to mark areas where it was at extremes. Okay, the low off the bottom, we looked at that in the video. There is room to run on the upside. So on the S&P here, on this 2-hour chart, R1 is, where are we at? 21, we'll say 2200 here, and then 2230. Okay. And they're over here. The numbers are over here listed under the pivots. If there's a continuation of a swing higher, there is room to run on here. But we'll know more when the futures open up here in a little bit. As you know, things can change for the cash with the futures, right? And NASDAQ did not like the close. You know, just it's not looking too healthy. The bulls definitely have to, if you're going to go pump one, you better go run into the NASDAQ here. Any loss under here, this 4650 area, the bottom, then we're going to drop precipitously. I think I had the upper three, it's like 3,800, I think, if I remember correctly. Here you have the small cap, the S&P 600, okay. Hard run on here, decent volume too. Unbalanced volume is beginning to pick up. Here was the previous peak, and here's where we're at. Any follow through because of the amount, the angle of ascent, these are wider, okay. The pivots are going to be wider here. So just be careful if you're aiming for one of them, you might come up short or go over a little bit. Mid caps, basically the same thing, back into the up this area. You're getting follow through money, so you're getting people who are willing to buy the breakouts and then put your stops underneath. You buy the breakout and put your stop underneath. Okay, and just move it up. Russell, basically the same thing. Angle of ascent, not as great as the other two indexes that we just looked at, but it's still there. Okay. All right, so now we're looking at, these are monthly. Okay, so we're back to the Toronto Stock Exchange. So basically, Toronto basically peaked since the peak in this commodity cycle. If I think commodities are going to come down over the next couple of years, they're going to be pressured also. And with the moving average, same thing. All of a sudden, it'll turn the other way. So Canada may have issues for the next 3 or 4 years. Okay, commodity prices come down, and real estate. So it's kind of a double whammy like they had through the 80s. Okay, they had an undecided, like a doji, undecided monthly bar, and then we're a little bit on the black side. So something trading below November's low, and then October's low would probably confirm a reversal. You have a basically look at it as a double top and then a failure to move higher here. I'm just going to say for right now that this is going to be a lower high. Amsterdam, we talked about, here we go. This one peaked back in 1999. You know, you have you know, you could say that it's a larger sideways pattern here. Okay. But this last bar monthly here just overshadows. You know, if there's going to be any weakness, it'll continue lower here. So we'll start talking about, you know, 12-15% drops minimum here into the cloud. The dots here are SAR, and these are monthly, so they're going to be a little bit of a distance away, but this is the top of the cloud at 380 from, we'll say 250, excuse me, 380 from 450 area, okay, would be your drop percentage-wise, okay. That would be a target of mine if the November lows are taken out. Sydney, basically the same thing. They did, it was a decent bar this way, okay, hit the top of the cloud and came back. It's a decent bar, so basically kind of have to give it a little more time and look at it as more on a daily basis here for right now. But I think that with the weaker commodities in general, they do talk about coal and stuff in China and that, but you know, is China on its own, or does it still rely on world trade? Can they do it domestically, or do they need their exports? But this pattern reminds me of like oil in 2000 moving up and then slide through like 108 in oil. So I think Australia is going to move lower. They also are due for some sort of real estate correction. So you know, we may be running into global issues here. Belgium, you know, they own Budweiser and stuff now. But basically the same thing, peaked in 2007 and not back yet. This pattern kind of looks like similar to like a wave 4 off the bottom, you know, but it's more of a corrective bounce, anything than any type of, you know, fresh drive higher. Brazil, okay, so this is a monthly. So now we're getting this big shadow bar over here, okay, above the cloud. What does it say? 51,168. Oh, I need another number. Where am I here? 52. Oh, that's where it's at currently there. Okay. About 58, 15. Below this here. Okay. 57, 58, that kind of thing. Full reversal. That's what I think. And I think a lot of these things are going to, you know, if this is a larger sideways pattern, you'd expect it to drop. So basically saying, you know, from 60 to 38 kind of thing, or to 40, 60 to 40. So that's what, a third. So be cautious on Brazil. I recommended or mentioned BZQ over the last few weeks. I'd still look at it as buying on weakness kind of thing. We may have issues with trade that way too. I remember, I think 96, Mexico had a deval or something, so, and it messed up the cattle market. This, right, to me, for France, looks like a bear flag and headed lower, larger sideways pattern. It's just not happening here. I can't see much momentum in that. You know, you could have a shoulder ahead and another shoulder here too. Markets do look pretty weak here. Here's the DAX. Okay, this kind of is, you could go after it too, of a topping pattern here. Just the whole loss of momentum. You know, you moved up, first you moved up, somewhat of a sideways correction here. It has to get some momentum going on in here. This is a decent candle here. It's still working out. This is a monthly chart, but you can just feel it that it's losing its momentum here. And in this case, on the DAX, where we're looking at the cloud, 9,500 here. What's down here? 8,500. So from 10.8 to 85. It's kind of like how I'd look at it, even if you drew a trend line over the top of this here for some sort of support. Dow Jones World, we looked at that too. Lower high, you know. The markets are susceptible to a pullback still. Okay, the European large sideways patterns, they have their issues now with Brexit, and interest rates are moving higher there too. United Kingdom, this one looks like possible double top and some. If you drew a larger sideways pattern, you could see that it could come all the way back down again, basically cut in half. Okay, this is a nice, pattern here on the candles. You need about 3 of them here. So you have your up. That's your reversal candle. This is basically your confirmation here on a monthly basis. It's Hong Kong short. That's what I like about that there's still some markets that you're able to get short into on Hong Kong. They also, I think, the world's most expensive real estate. Same thing, the money was flying in, now the money flies out. The money flying into stuff reminds me of when the Japanese bought Pebble Beach in '89 and then coughed it up a couple of years later. Same money, all this money's chasing real estate, and then all of a sudden it stops. Italy, I'd buy in weakness is kind of how I'd look at it. It's Italy, right? So, real estate, it's fine. They have their debt stuff. You can always just, it's kind of like the Marshall Plan. I think we forgave German debt after World War II. We didn't strap people down, hint, student loans. And then, but if I had to buy a few things, I think it was Italy or Portugal. Mexico looks like it's going to reverse here. Mexican peso, et cetera, et cetera. Mexico, how did Mexico? So this is Mexico under George Bush. Then the war on drugs picked up. And then this is the regime change here. And then the same thing again, expect, how can this not get worse? So what do we have? Wow. Okay, so we go from, what's the high? 48.6. So 48.6 to 26, that's a pretty good chunk here. And that's how I'd look at it, just with these are logged charts. So the moving average, you click below it, I expect it to come down. Euronext, this just kind of looks like a distribution pattern. We'll say bear flag lower. That's kind of how I look at it. India, oh good, I marked something up short. They double top real estate, their issues, I'd have to say come down to the moving average in the cloud area here. So basically high of 87, we'll say, and now 47. Yeah. Now it's like, that's why I say if you have real estate, be able to support on one income. Japan, I'd buy on any pullback. It's just the nature of the beast. They've been beaten up for so long. Here's 95. This is still coming off the high of 40,000. They're not even halfway back, kind of thing. But I'd buy on any weakness, just due to the fact that they've been beaten up for so long. New Zealand, this was a short talked about before. Now, unfortunately, they had another earthquake. I don't remember when the previous earthquake. We might say it's this one. Just eyeballing the bar real quick, but Christchurch, had an earthquake, and they have another one here. So, wish them the best in that. But we have the super moon too, and oceans, planets. I'm not a nut job when it comes to things like that, but I pay attention. No. But yeah, short side on the NAST or on the Kiwi, New Zealand Stock Exchange. Portugal, here's another one, just like with Italy and stuff. To me, I'd come in. It just reminds me of coming in after World War II and scooping up assets that way, Randolph Hearst. And so you know, it's pretty weak. There's going to be something here that tempts people to put their money into Portugal. I look at it that way. Here's Russia. Now we'll look at this before here, last week's video. So this is from 570 to 39. Let's try that again. From 570 to 39. Okay, that was when Russia defaulted. That's also the bottom in oil. Well, can we go from 1,000? Well, you've gone from 2,500 to 500. Okay, so losing 75% seems to be a commonplace. Losing 75% from here would be 250, which would be this area before it took off. There you go. You know, I'll just leave it. It's not that I'm against Russia. Technically, they're Rus, which is, you know, old Vikings and stuff. So genetically, I don't know, baby. You know, however you look at it, nationality. That's, you know. But I'm a Norski, so have a little bit of that and the Irish kind of thing, right, Kevin? Yes. All right. So, and then Dutch. How about that one, huh? A Viking trader. Oh, there you go. All right, but it just does look like it's going to roll over here, okay? Because it's good. They're going to have to be oil, and you know they could double dip in their recession too. So, and then, you know, here's your high with the commodities, and if I expect commodities to come down, we'll just throw out a stupid number like $20 oil. How's that going to help Russia? You know, things of that. Natural gas, however you want to work. A great winter, you know, natural gas prices double, but, you know, usage is 90% off. You know, the math doesn't work sometimes. Anyway, you slice it. Here's China. Okay, this is China entering the World Trade Organization. You buy our debt, keep our interest rates low, we'll buy your products. The American way. I expect, you know, Bangladesh, India, and that area to be the next one to be moved up the ladder here socioeconomically. Yeah, any type of hard swoon kind of deal. Say India and that. See, the money always moves west. You know, moves from Europe to America to Japan to China. It just keeps moving west. I'd say the top of the cloud and the dots for resistance for right now. They are getting some follow through, not much in regards to their economic numbers. Just be careful. There's A shares. It's kind of like Google and Alphabet. So there's two different classes of equities. So Singapore, me, short kind of thing. Just think it's going to roll over and continue lower. That's how I look at it. All right, so there you have it. To me, the only ones I want to buy would be Portugal. Definitely keep hammering. Sorry, New Zealand. Any hard sell-off, kind of like Japan. But a lot of this is, if this is going to continue on lower, we're going to mark a lot of time. Keeps short Brazil, Germany, and that they all look weak. They're all susceptible to large declines that would last months here, not years, but more like months, because they still have the overall macro cycle. Hong Kong is a short. Mexico is a short. Okay. Just wanted to zip through these real quick again. And maybe a swing higher. Maybe we swing higher on the open Sunday night and then pull back. But we shall see. Boy, am I eager. Live. Sunday. It's the Kevy hour or 2 or 3 or 4. Yeah. I better take a look at my books too here. What time do we have? 12:30? Okay, so I have a few more hours. It's time to make a few more videos.